Greetings, old world explorers. Welcome to another live exploration. I'm happy to introduce WhisperJack to you. Jack, thanks for joining me.
Hello. Yes, sir. Thanks for the invite.
Looks like you got some fans here in the chat already. We got this. I love WhisperJack. What a homie! Right on.
Nice.
Um,
I don't see that yet. Sorry, I'm still fumbling around with this stuff.
no worries. There, the viewers will see it. I'll share it. Looking forward to this collaboration. We got a viewer, Shelby Norwood says so. I'm looking forward to it too. I'm going to tell you how I came across your content. I only came across it like a month ago, which is ridiculous because I've been researching the old world for a good 3 years now, and you'd think it would have popped up in the recommendations.
Yeah, I guess that said something about that.
Yeah, well, you're over the target and a little bit shadow banned, probably. That's my guess.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. And I wanted to share, so I've kind of been binging some of your stuff over the last month. And first of all, I want to encourage anyone who's watching this to check your channel out if you haven't already. And I wanted to share some of my favorites that you put together, if you don't mind.
Not at all. Okay, now I see it. Okay. Oh, what is that? At Google Earth?
Yeah, that's on your screen. You should be able to X that out if you don't. I thought that was intentional.
No. I was just kind of fooling with the settings. Like I said,
Okay.
I was struggling over here.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and I'd heard a lot about your channel. Actually, there was quite a few people telling me to look you up, and I had the chance to do that. But it's always surprising to me that anyone actually enjoys the things that I make, and so I'm thrilled to be part of the conversation and talk with some like minds. So.
Yeah, I'm glad you're able to join me. It's I like getting heads together in this field of research, as I like to say. It's kind of fun to bounce ideas off each other. So glad you're able to join me.
Happy to be here.
Oh, let's take a look at the chat. I don't want to ignore the chat because we've got a lot of explorers, old world explorers, as I like to say, interested in what we're looking at, I suppose. Here's Kathy. Kathy's a staple here on the channel. Kathy, it's always nice to see you. Hello from Kentucky. We had one from Prague as well. Dana from Prague.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Tennessee. It's cool to be able to connect with people all over the place. It's kind of special in the age of the internet to have that luxury, I suppose. All right. So yeah, what I'm showing you guys here now is WhisperJack's channel. My top 3 of your content, if you don't mind. From what I've seen so far, I've been working my way through your stuff, but obviously the song, and I think I'll just play it, and then we'll move on to some of the other videos you've made. So this is Jack's song, guys. It's an ode to the old world. Struck me hard when I first heard it, and I really love it. So this one's for.
I'd like you to know, world, I haven't forgotten the old you, and I'm not so certain things are better now. They only tell us the truth, and I've never forgotten the visions of old that I see in those photographs and through these surveys. No, I won't let it go. I'm resurrecting your memory to the old world. My heart goes out to you. It is in your legend, and your virtue is why my heart and yours stays true. And I reject the new one, though I'm grateful for some of the nice things we have. I'll never let your memory fade from my mind. No, I won't let it die. No, I won't let it die. In the meantime, in the meantime, in the meantime, in the meantime, no, I won't let it Shifting all its perspective, focusing on you. I'll offer it freely. I'll offer all the love and the light we had back. Although from what I can tell, it will probably have to. Yeah, they'll probably kill me for that.
Yeah, that's a banger, all right. So good, so good.
Man,
Thank you for
I'm
making
really
that.
glad you enjoyed it, man. It's just one of those things where, for me personally, I just make things it's just who I am, sort of. And so it's just for me. And anytime there's anyone that actually enjoys it, I'm genuinely surprised, first of all.
Well, you're definitely an artist, that's for sure, and it is a wonderful tune. I don't mean to beat it into the ground, but it is fantastic.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's very, very humbling.
Okay, my second favorite of your videos, maybe my first favorite, is this one, Questioning Early America. It looks like you got a lot of views on that one. I've watched this probably 3 times as well, and I'm going to recommend this to anyone who hasn't seen it that's watching. Again, the way that you assess what you're seeing and what you're thinking, it just really strikes a chord. You know, it can really resonate with what you're talking about in this video for sure.
Awesome.
And then go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, that one. So that essentially is how it all got started. I really just made that for a couple friends
Mm-hmm.
and put that out there, and somehow kind of that one got passed around through the YouTube mechanisms somehow.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of encouraged me to, like, well, I guess there's an audience for it. I'll just continue, the experiment, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, you say that you collected a lot of these visuals early on, before you started the channel. Is that correct?
Yes. So initially I was kind of shadowboxing how we kind of do with these controllers and trying to predict things that could affect us that might be in their battle plan. And so I thought that it was a good chance at one point that a lot of the things that we see, a lot of the images would be taken offline. And so I started just hoarding essentially photographs of everything I could from official sources, Library of Congress and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how I happened to have all the stuff for the surveys and all that in advance. So then it was just a matter of just tapping into it and actually going through it.
Yeah, so you saw some either shutdown coming. Well, now maybe it's more of a modification with the AI augmentation and all that kind of stuff too, right?
Yes. Now I think that it's not necessary, because with the AI stuff, no one's going to believe anything that they see in a few years anyway. So
Yeah, right.
it's almost like, it's a moot point. They don't even need to. But I do think it's important to at least be able to display, well, this is what they presented as truth on their official websites. At least there's a little bit of traction there.
I agree. Yeah, right. From their sources, right? Because 5 years from now they're going to say the old world was all just AI. It never really existed to begin with,
Right?
right?
Yeah, that's fake.
Totally. The other series of yours that I wanted to actually, before I do that, we had a viewer, Vincent, here saying Vincent's favorite of yours is A Startling Revelation. I have watched that one as well too, so that one's great. So just as a recommendation to your viewers, and give you some props for sure. But your Civil War series, narrative buster, man. That's a narrative buster. The AI stuff is crazy. It's crazy.
It still blows my mind. I don't even know what to do with it.
Yeah. That's got to be why that you're shadow banned into some sort of corner.
Yeah, probably.
Well,
understandably.
Yeah, I feel like the Civil War narrative, American Civil War narrative, is like the anchor for this research on the new world and the resetting of new America or whatever it might be.
Yeah, in many ways, it's the whole nation, the whole narrative of the nation hinges on that, and not being an accurate, depiction of what it was. And I just can't find it. I can't find anything that's convincing to me.
Yeah, and it seems like it's so close in your rear view mirror. Actually, I'm Canadian, so I say you. I'm talking about Americans. You're from the States, and it seems so part of what's going on today and people's mindsets and their sense of
Yeah,
histories. And there's such a distortion when you really start to look into it. It's pretty sad, actually.
yeah. It's just the lack of anything substantial is really so telling.
Yeah.
I mean, that book series is ridiculous.
You're talking about the ones with the pictures in it?
10 volumes of that guy Brady, and not a single picture that makes sense. I mean, there's literally paragraphs where he's waxing on poetically about, the dead piled 3 feet high, the screams of the wounded, and all, and then the picture is just a blank field that looks like no one's even trampled the grass. It's just insane.
Yeah, I know. Quite a joke for sure. But it's fun to uncover that, to unearth that stuff, and then to watch the. That's why I titled our chat tonight "Upsetting the Apple Cart" because it's kind of what we both do
Nice.
with our research, right? It's kind, it's and I have a couple files here. I have strictly old world buildings. I've got a real mix and match of stuff. I don't know where you're at on even, but I could share those. And I
Yeah,
have some.
whatever you like. I'm just in it for the.
Okay, this is the one I wanted to share with you. Then, this has got a real mix and match of different stuff. So share your thoughts where you think you might want to chime in. Right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I get into what a lot of people term as the meltology end of things, or post cataclysm. We're living in a post cataclysm realm, and what we're looking at is the results of um, some sort of cataclysmic heat damage devastation here.
Mhm.
So this is down in your neck of the woods, down in the States there. But they'll tell us, what will they tell us about this historically? The Anasazi people made these buildings 800 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, I mean that's the story. That's how kind of how they paint everything with that broad stroke.
Yeah, the falsification, right? I think it is anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, the Native Americans or the American Indians, however you that their role in all this is really it's still a mystery.
Yeah, it is. It is. That's the biggest one for me. I can't wrap my head around that. We'll touch on that as we move forward in this file
Okay.
because I've got a few things to
So
discuss.
what's the official story on that last one?
This one, I can't say I know specifically. I think this is down in around the Four Corners area.
Okay.
pretty sure it's I'm pretty sure it's Anasazi and about 800 years old ruins of the people that lived in the area. Um, there's no talk of any sort of cataclysm or damage, but to me, it looks like this is nowhere near what it was meant to be built like. Like you can see
Right.
here, that's a perfect 90-degree. That's almost a perfect brick right there. Something that would
Yeah,
have been
yeah, yeah.
manufactured.
I'm in full agreement on that. That's a construction that's not not from those people. I
Yeah.
doubt.
So it's historical narrative, I guess, is what I'm
Hmm.
getting at. I can't stand the timeline. The timeline they gave us. It's so far away from what we're seeing. You know,
Yeah, yeah. It makes no sense.
no. You get a lot of these here. So we were talking about the Native American story. So this is actually from the St. Louis World's Fair Human Zoos.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look at those people.
Yeah, and I think it's a real anchor again. The World's Fairs and the Civil War really sort of cemented our historical narrative here on the continent. So
Yeah, it's. Well, I mean, what is that? The man with them like, in the center. It's like
this
what
guy,
is he the leader of? Like, what is going on there? It's like
he's
the
furrowed.
penguin.
His brows are furrowed. Can you tell? He's taken
Guys,
off his hat though.
he definitely means business.
He does. He does. He's not messing around. This guy too. But
It's
he's
just hard to figure out what they're doing.
yeah. I've heard some pretty horrible stories about the human zoos at the World's Fairs. Um, and it's a very
Oh
strange,
yeah,
yeah, a very strange part of the narrative. There's this guy too over in the corner.
just so bizarre.
hmm hmm
They don't look like they're comfortable.
No,
those
not at
people?
all. Not at all. I think it's again a resetting into a storyline that in some ways going to serve their purpose. Divide us is the big one, I think.
Sure.
Separate us along different lines.
Yeah, and they've got to come up with a reason for everything,
Hmm.
and then just get it to the kids super young and keep repeating it every year. And so it just becomes a part of your, your tapestry of what you believe to be real. And it's hard to undo that. And I understand that people don't want to take that route.
Yeah, no, it's well then they cement it with movies and all that kind of stuff too, and it is a cultural brainwashing that we're dealing with here. I think
Sure.
that's why what we're upsetting. That's the apple cart that we're poking fun at.
Oh, it's so real.
I got a real mixed file for you. I thought you'd like that.
That's great. Is that like a bad yearbook photo?
No, this is my cousin's Halloween costume 3 years ago. Oh wait, no, that's NASA.
Is it really? No, okay.
That's NASA from the 60s.
That's ridiculous.
I think he looks pretty sharp.
Is it taped up boots?
Duct tape though, right? NASA made duct
I just don't understand like how that doesn't even look legit. Like his helmet looks sort of photoshopped on. It's sort of crooked.
Yeah, his head doesn't look like it's that. The face has been sort of penciled in there.
That's bad. That's really bad.
So when we look back at these things, they start to look really absurd, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the reasons I think they don't make very many movies about actual NASA. They'll make things about futuristic space, but never the greatest achievement that we have ever accomplished. Because I think they realized they could make something so much better than the footage they showed then that it would just look ludicrous.
Yeah, right. It looks better than the real thing, right?
Yeah,
totally.
Without trying.
Well, yeah, I do love the whole Stanley Kubrick was filming a space movie when the moon landing. So I mean, that's pretty obvious too. It's starting to get very obvious, I think.
Yeah, just a coincidence.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I like the whole timeline. This is the conventional timeline of our planet, and then how we sort of crawled up out of the water into the mud and became this on top here.
Yes, that makes sense. Pond scum.
Some smart scholars came up with that timeline. Some genius scholars.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that to me, and it's kind of always been this way. Anytime someone, by explanation, they say, well, they throw the number millions out there. Well, it's millions of miles away or millions of years away. My eyes just glaze over because I don't even know how you begin to measure that.
I think you defer. We defer. Okay, it's too much for me. Too much for me. I defer to the experts.
Yeah, to say with certainty, that's a million miles away. It's like, but we don't even have a million miles here to measure. So I just don't understand how you prove that.
The vastness of it all, right? Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's great.
One of my favorites. Yeah, this is what in Helena, Montana, the old natatorium, the old swimming pool. Yeah.
Oh yeah, in Montana.
Montana, yeah. They tore it down in the 30s, I think.
Of course, yeah. It's inadequate.
Well, it's not clearly it's ugly. That's for sure.
I mean, what did they replace it with? They just left the pool?
I don't think there's anything there. There probably is something now, but at the time it was demolished and frivolously demolished, even by their narrative,
I try to put myself in the shoes of someone that's trying to hide this, and I do understand with certain things you can pass them off as churches and whatever it is. But what do you do with that? Like, what do you do with this out here in Montana? You can't do a World's Fair in Montana. I mean, I guess you could, but it's not a place.
You have to get rid of it. They've done that with a lot, right? They have to be considering what stays and what goes at some level. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I just can't believe the people that were alive then, I guess they were just sort of, blissfully ignorant.
It's just how it was, I think.
Yeah.
They believed what they were told, and if they didn't, they probably got sent into the asylums or sent off to war. Why not?
Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, even modern people, we have access to so much information that when people are skeptical, even with the flood, I'm always like, really? You don't even want to question it? But back then it was like, why question the one newspaper?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even have a reason to question anything. Like we have plenty of reasons.
Yeah, there was no distrust. You just believed it. Why would they
Right.
lie? I mean, some
Yeah.
people are still in that state of mind of why would they lie.
Right, and that's insane with all the information that we have.
It is insane. Yeah, everything's been flipped upside down. It seems to me.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah,
time to
I'm
be
on
alive.
board. Yeah, with all this.
I love this one. This is ridiculous. That should be like a mosque in I don't know, Tehran or something like that.
Yeah, and it would be. I mean, it would be if it
Yeah.
happened to be over there. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
think that our story it's isolated to America. I think
No.
every region had their own set of narratives applied to explain what's around them.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the ocean levels and even the topography was all dramatically changed through some sort of cataclysm.
Definitely
And
seems like it.
yeah, but all we can do is speculate and have fun with it. So that's what we do. Yeah, found a few of these old movie
What?
ones. I love it.
What is that guy in the orange doing?
He's floating, right? Zero
He's the
gravity.
only
Come
one.
on.
He's the only one that gets the orange suit.
He gets to experience the zero gravity. Yeah,
Just
probably
makes no
early
sense.
'60s. This is they flooded it in our entertainment, right? With all of this.
Oh yeah, I mean, it seems like that's sort of a whether it's intentional or not. It seems a method where they take something fictional and they project it onto, say, space. You have Star Wars, so people are trying to scramble in their minds. Well, what of this world do I understand? Oh, I understand planets, and then this is just different planets. Or I understand the galaxy. This is just a different galaxy,
Yeah.
and that just cements it even more as a reality, as a given.
Yeah, using fiction for nefarious purpose.
Totally.
Rather than what Tolkien did, I think.
Yeah, and I
in
don't
many
think that
ways.
these people are. I don't think they're all willingly participating in it. I think that they are like everybody, just that creates or anybody that once ideas are out there, they can kind of just get picked up on, and so
Yeah, I agree.
somehow
And
they, these things
Yeah.
get lobbed out there by spirits or whoever it is that's against us.
Yeah, it's like an overarching thought form that you either choose to get into or flow with, or choose to eject from. It seems to.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it is hard to pinpoint and say this individual person responsible for all the evils of the world. That's
Right.
Yeah.
And I think they're all most of them are probably unaware or only aware of a very tiny portion of it. I mean, I think that human greed is hijacked, and they look for these type of people that they can corrupt,
Mhm.
and and use the worst parts of humanity to keep the rest of us down.
I agree. Yeah, the consciousness, like they're able to latch on and control or keep our consciousness down. I think keep us from being aware of what's going on, controlling our
Yeah.
perception.
And mad at each other, blaming each other.
Yeah, Hegelian dialectic, right? It's always pointing
Absolutely.
fingers at each other's. Yeah, got these two fine gentlemen from 1954 with
Oh yeah,
entertainment and science.
just innocent little Walt.
I saw a few people in the chat saying, "What's going on here? What are we doing?" So, Jack and I are just rolling through a file I put together for us to muse on however we like to with what we're seeing. So, if you want to roll along with us, you're more than welcome to. I hope you're enjoying it, guys. But that's what we're doing, in case you're wondering.
That's what we think we're doing, Matt.
Yeah, this guy's Nazi, wasn't he? This brown guy.
Yeah, I think he was had a large hand in playing the invention of rockets or the development of these high-speed rockets, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think Project Paperclip. I think he was brought over. They say he was brought over from the Nazis and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Which is
it's
such a strange thing.
I know.
Why was that
enemy is
okay?
my friend. Yeah, totally. Right, my enemy is my friend. Yeah. Here we go. So this is from one of the earliest films ever. You're probably aware of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
It's
Journey to the Moon.
It's the French the French guy.
Yeah, I think it started French, and then there was it was a silent film era where they go to the moon and there's aliens or something up there. It's actually definitely worth a look for people if you haven't seen this one, guys. It's because it starts out as a group of they're wizards. They're actually wizards, and then they put the professor's robes on, and then they go to the moon. It's really interesting. Actually.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what that Smashing Pumpkins video is sort of doing an
Tonight?
homage to, right? Yes, tonight.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Stylistically, at least.
Definitely. I think Billy Corgan's pretty conscious too, from what I've seen from him in the last however many years. But like his stuff, his perspective on things.
Yeah, he went from being sort of a creepy 90s guy to sort of settling down all right. That happens every now and then.
Yeah, to questioning certain things, which is, I think questioning has helped. We got to ask questions.
I mean, it's getting far too ridiculous.
Yeah, we're in a strange time of awareness. Some people are like full on, look at this, and other people are like, please don't show me this. It seems to be.
Oh boy, look at that guy. I don't think I've seen that one.
Albany, Oregon. This was a bank in Albany, Oregon.
Man, is there an Albany in just about every state?
Probably. There's a lot of double ups. As I do my research, like I've seen an Adams County in pretty much every state I've looked in.
Yeah.
And probably a Lincoln and a Johnson and a Washington. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a ton of that. But even places like there's Danville in many states. I'm like, what is that?
Or Salem. There's like tons of Salems.
It's strange. There's a website, I can't remember the name of it, but it's essentially chronicles the names of everything from every nation, whether it's a stream, it's a cliff,
Really?
It tallies all of them. And by far, the United States has far more names for just, I guess, features of the land. It's not even close. No other country. I mean, millions of more names. It's bizarre.
Really? Like more variety overall?
Yeah, I guess we've come up with more names for things than most nations.
Huh. Interesting. Big. Well, it's a big nation. Big nation. I'd like to know the truth about it for sure. About everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, I can't, for some reason, my research, I have trouble getting out of the States. There's just so much there that's not supposed to be there.
Absolutely. And it's a narrative that you're familiar with. I mean, it's hard. I look at other countries, but it's difficult because I don't really know what the feel is there, what they believe, and what really makes sense or not. I mean, they would.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Where it's more familiar. There's a language barrier too, right? And,
totally.
Yeah, but it certainly is evident wherever you look. I mean, it doesn't really seem to matter.
Right.
Yeah. I got a bit of a theme going here, as you can see.
Yeah. Oh man.
You'd have to be an idiot to believe the story. That's what that says to me. That picture. I don't know.
It's always Jim Carrey too, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, the Riddler. Yeah.
Yeah, the Truman Show. He's done a lot of that. Even what's the one where the memories get wiped? It's Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Man, that's terrifying.
Well, there was like a green man thing with him too, because you have the mask and then you have the Riddler, and I think there's another one where he's green as well. Some interesting stuff there. Yeah, old Jimbo.
He tried.
Yeah, he got a little interesting the last little while.
Yeah, it seems like he tried to tell people.
Yeah, you're right, and through comedy, right? Through comedy.
Yeah, I'm sure you've seen that Jimmy Kimmel or one of those Jimmys.
Yeah, where he does the old the triangle and the tongue.
Yeah, and he's telling him, he's like, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he tries, but he's like, he's in disbelief. He's like, they're laughing at me.
Yeah. Kimmel's trying to like kind of laugh, but awkwardly, because he's like, I don't know, I'm not ready to go that far.
I felt bad for him in a way. I was like, that didn't work.
Oh, he tried. Yeah. All right.
That would be a difficult position to be in.
Definitely. There's a compromised aspect to a lot of these things. Yeah. I'm going hard on the space thing, because this one is like what on a little boy's bedroom is dinosaurs in space. Those are the two things that cement a reality at a young age in this
Totally.
society. Yeah.
Yeah, and they each serve a purpose, you know, in a way. They
Yeah.
they set the scale of time and
Time.
the limitations.
Yeah, and space, time and space.
But
They're
that's so
putting the
silly because I mean, we're in the same. If this was true, like where on Earth can you just see nothingness out there,
yeah,
looking straight ahead?
yeah. All right. Yeah. I like the old tight crew cuts. Those like
Yeah,
kind of military crew cut. That's a good look. That's 50s again, right?
it's got to be right.
Yeah.
That guy in the front right, yeah, he knows what's up.
This guy here, he knows
And that's right, yeah, he's like,
he's got a good life ahead of him. He knows it. He signed the deal. Right?
he's got that Joker's grin.
Yeah, he's gonna do well for himself. He's gonna have a really lots of money, really nice house. Kids are gonna go to a good college. He's laughing.
And it wouldn't be that hard to sell to those guys in the name of national security.
No, sell the lie in the name of national security. Definitely. Yeah. It's what is it? State secret, classified information. You'd feel special, hey, walking around with all this classified information.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, I'm switching around again. I'm jumping all over this. The whole
That's
pile
cool.
goes
Yeah,
all over the place. Yeah.
I'm in for the ride.
Cool. Another one of my melty looking picks. This is interesting. I think mix and match, right? Like these look like they were bricks sort of at one point, but
yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It looks like somebody tried to patch that up, or
yeah,
it's so hard to say.
Whoever hired the person that built this, well, shouldn't have paid him, I think. But it probably
I mean, it looks. I'm not sure why you would even build that anyway. What is that? what are they going for?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, here's another one where you got what we'll call natural, what geologists will call natural on the left, and quite clearly not natural on the right.
And how is that explained? I'm always wondering how these things are explained.
I would suspect that just that, as a geologist would say, well, this was part of the late Cretaceous, blah blah blah. The ice sheets receded 10,000, 12,000 years ago, left this, and then in the mid 1800s they needed to build a mill out here to mine, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that's what this part was.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Something like that, anyway. I could probably pass for a professor, geology professor, over. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, you're not that far off.
As long as you got the credentials, people will listen. Right? People will listen.
Yeah, the white coat.
The white coat. Totally. I love that. The ads, right? The doctor in the white coat in the ads. Like, all it takes is a white coat and you're a doctor with a stethoscope, maybe. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, we better be careful with the whole medical thing, though. YouTube will shut me down in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I'm still working off. Yeah, me too. I need them all the time. Yeah, I'm about 2 weeks away from working off a channel warning. So my guess is
Oh, really?
They've suppressed me for a little while, is my guess. Yeah, could be wrong. Who knows?
Well, we'll try not to add to that.
No, I did the Rumble backup, but it's like, I don't know, it just doesn't have the traction interface that
I found it confusing, the Rumble setup.
It's cool that there's a backup, but it's totally a backup. It's not going to take over YouTube. Yeah.
And this must be Grand Canyon?
It is, yeah. Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times.
Huh.
A few times, actually. It's an
Cool.
interesting place. I mean, the strangest thing about it is that you feel like you're on a mountain, and then you realize you're not. It's just
lower than you.
Yeah, it's just lower. I mean, it's a little elevated, but it's not. It's not the way it feels. It's just a startling experience.
Well, they say there's a lot about areas you can't get to, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a strange. It's a strange place. I feel like everywhere up there is bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, I believe it. I'd love to go check it out one day. This definitely looks damaged in some way. I don't think this was built like this. This looks like something happened here to me.
Yeah, maybe rebuilt.
Yeah, possibly. Might have been. That's a tough spot to build on too. Jeez,
Yeah,
wouldn't
why
want to
would
be
you
that
do
guy.
that?
Get the scaffold around there and get old Jimmy up there on the mix and
Yeah,
mortar.
Jimmy'd have to do that. I'm not going up there.
That's exactly right. Oh, we lost Jimmy. Let's get Johnny up there. Jimmy just fell down the hole. Well, that's exactly it, right? So when you get that assumption a lot with people who argue this content, and they're just like, well, they were just hardy folk back then, willing to get up on the scaffold in Chicago up 25 stories, with the wind
Yeah,
whistling. It's superhuman.
it's like, no, I mean, maybe a few, but I mean, there's people that have dangerous jobs today. It's not like
Not in
everyone
that
that
way.
was born them just fearless and, I'll do anything for a nickel. It's like,
Yeah.
no, they still have families and
Well, exactly, and didn't need to do it, right? I'm sure they could live off the land, and
right.
I don't know.
I mean,
It's
those
just,
pictures looking back, with all the guys having lunch on the I-beam,
yeah,
yeah, and that is the
fake.
Jimmy job. Yeah, you hear that, Jimmy?
Yeah. Yeah, the I-beam, that's fakery. That's got to be.
It's got to be.
I
You're
look at
not,
they
you're
got
not up
no
there having a brown paper bag lunch on an I-beam.
they got no traction on their shoes. There's like no grip on their shoes at all, and they're in suits. Some of the guys up there, some of the pictures I've seen, maybe not that one, but I've seen top hats and
Oh yeah, just
you know,
no regulation, and they'll be hanging from a crane, like posing for the picture, and it's just like,
it's so dumb.
I don't know, that doesn't seem right.
No, but they've managed to pass it off as real, down through time.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. This one's cool too. You can see how the sort of like the brick wall is gonna go bloop into here.
Oh
Like
yeah,
it's like it liquefied.
what do they claim that is?
Honestly, I don't know. They probably don't say anything about it. It just is, but
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
it's just a feature.
This is in Europe somewhere. I'm probably maybe Germany or somewhere or Czech Republic maybe. But
Those people, they just must be so surrounded by that old history that they're almost numb to it.
yeah, taken for granted. It's just the past. We don't care. We're trained not to care about the past, really. I think it's like who cares about the past? Back then they
Right,
were stupid. We're smarter now. We're moving forward.
right, yeah.
Don't look back.
This is progress. They're backwards.
Yeah, they were
Except when
stupid.
it comes to history and things like that. Then they got it absolutely 100% right.
Yeah, they figured that out in 1850 at the Royal Society in Oxford.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got it figured out.
They didn't understand social stuff. They oppressed women. They used horrible medical practices. They had everything wrong except for like
So,
space and history.
yeah, they figured it out early. Oh, here we go. More space. More space. Keep going. More of the same, right?
Yeah,
Buzz
it's a weird world.
Buzz Lightyear. Infinity and beyond, right? This
Yeah, and
is
these
interesting.
stories too.
Hmm.
This Western
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, I talked to Michelle Gibson about this. She dug real deep on the old dime store or nickel Western novels that they were just flooding the market with in the
Yeah,
20s. Apparently, they were just everywhere. Every book stand and every gas station just flooded with cowboys and Indians
they pushed
and
that
novels.
hard.
They did. There has to be a
Toys
reason.
and
Yeah,
TV
kids.
series.
Well, little boys would play it, right? You'd play it in the schoolyard and the
Yeah, Cowboys Indians. It was a
hmm
thing. It was.
hmm
I mean, there were so many that even that sort of caught on in Europe. Randomly, people are like fascinated with cowboy culture in France.
Yes, for sure.
It's
American.
strange.
Yes, cowboy. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Totally. Totally. Well, we've been watching a bit of Yellowstone, the latest Cowboys and Indians version kind of thing, and it's still there. The narratives, they're still pushing a lot of that narrative through that show too. So they recycle these things and repackage them.
Totally.
Yeah. So there's a definitely illusion going on there.
I mean, there's just no room for it where you have you have a city like San Francisco at the same time as you have these dusty saloons and it can't be both.
No,
Like they had to
exactly.
cram it into a timeline that just doesn't fit.
No, and then you have to ask why. Why did they need to paint it this way? Like they're obviously it's like it's pieces to a puzzle they knew that they were putting together. I don't think it's accidental and just happened to be thrown together in that way. Again, division is a big one.
Yeah.
For sure. Right? Keep us divided.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess just to sell the illusion that that we, with our own blood, sweat, and tears, we did it. We built this land. I mean, was that the?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like well, yeah, the
It's hard to
old
say.
work ethic, and I don't know. That's interesting. More Grand Canyon for you, just tucked up away on the cliffside.
Wow, that's in the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy, right? Come on.
That is crazy. I mean, and I see stuff like that, and I wonder is that like an archaeologist sort of creation to be like,
There are
look.
there are those for sure, but I don't know any archaeologists worth their salt that would be able to get up here and do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Not it would have to be a very hands-on archaeologist, put it that way.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. I got some oldies for you. Let's get some old world stuff in there. Louisville.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that banger.
Yeah. I love the old. I think Detroit Sharpie does a lot of refining the old images where you can
Yes,
zoom
they
right
do.
in. Yeah.
Yeah, I often wonder how they do that. How the
Yeah.
photography is just so immaculate, and
Are you
always
pretty
the single horse and carriage.
poor horse, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, just to give you the time period, so
And
that you can look at it in one take. You can see, well, this is set in this era.
obviously. So what really gets me, and the building is magnificent, but as I started looking at more of these, what gets me is the infrastructure, the streets, the cobbled streets,
Mm-hmm.
and the sidewalks are damn near perfect. Better than we can do today. A lot of these sidewalks.
Yeah, and very sparsely populated.
Yeah, like that's a lot of work. And there's like a retaining wall back here, like the sidewalk
Mm-hmm.
that goes to a retaining wall. Like
Almost because I think it looks like it dips down, right? So does that to keep people from falling down there, or
yeah, it's exactly. There's a lower level, like the mud flood whole thing, right? Where
yeah,
you could walk down along there, and looks like maybe you can walk up here. But all of this infrastructure has to be poured, packed, set, whatever, however they're doing it.
yeah, and the
This,
material has to arrive there on those little wagon wheels, and
well, no, let's
it's
be honest.
just
You can get a
impossible.
train car here. You can get a train car to this point, right? We got to give them that train. Load it up on the train
Oh yeah,
car,
that's probably true.
and then get it. Even just get it from the train car. Get that 5-ton block from the train car into place. Good luck.
And they,
Good luck.
often sometimes when I read the descriptions of the buildings, they say, well, it's a special type of cement that was sort of marked to look like stone.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, either way, that's so much cement.
that doesn't make it sound easier. It's
No,
it's like
it's like cement's easy to work with.
it's like your comment about the World's Fairs. I think in that one video where you say, "I don't care if it's made of cake frosting; it's a monumental achievement."
Yeah, if you made that out of anything, I'd be blown away.
Totally. It's a
I mean,
whole
even
new
the
narrative again.
scaffolding on that had to be just like
We did like
serious.
you could probably build 25 houses at least with the scaffolding for just this building here.
And the face of that clock, like it's what, 2 men tall?
At least I would think. Yeah, it's huge. Another thing I often notice too is the 4 is for what is it? Eyes, not IV, like in Roman numerals. Like I was always taught Roman numerals is
Oh yeah,
I, double I, triple I, IV, V. But
I've never
these
noticed that.
yeah, they're all 4 lines for the 4s.
Do you see that all often,
Yeah.
or is that just this?
Often in Old World, anything Old World, usually it will have that. You'll see it now if you look for it on any of those buildings that had these clocks up there. Yeah.
I had not noticed that.
But there's got to be no narrative for this in the States. Like Louisville's building, like they hid this from us. The fact that these existed, as far as I'm
It had to
concerned.
be. I mean, it had to be.
Yeah, 1870 and 1873. That's what, just after the Civil War.
And even that seems impossible. That's long by their standards, because sometimes they're like, "Yep, 6 months. We rebuilt the whole area." And it's like,
Yeah, they gave it 3 years. Yeah. I don't even
who
think
needs a
it is
city hall
possible.
that big?
Louisville, that's who.
I mean, how many employees are in there?
Lots. They're coming. They're coming from
There's
Germany and
just
Italy,
thousands of clerks in there.
Ireland, and Germany, and they're flooding in the boats on the trains, and Ellis Island is just
It's crazy.
yeah, it's bullshit. That's what it is. It's bullshit.
It's so fascinating that the majority of people, me included, like just traipsing around the world, ignoring that, or just somehow unable to see it until it's just becomes clear, and then you can't unsee it. I mean, you can't go back.
So share with me your thoughts on that. So the way I see that is like there's like an unveiling going on, because I was like a hardcore conspiracy research guy for like a couple decades. Like it was hard to get anything past me. For me it was always, somebody in the background pulling the strings, and you could call what they were doing, but I couldn't
Yeah.
see this. I didn't see this at all until 3 years ago.
It's strange. I mean, for me personally, I remember like lying on my back with friends, looking at stars, talking about they're not really that far, things like that, and just sort of questioning everything, but not really seeing how important it was. I didn't really
Mhm.
understand that it was. I was like, whatever. Even if it is the lie, okay.
Yeah,
It's the best story they got. It didn't seem to matter.
doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. But it wasn't until, and I thought that the things that go on, the machinations of sort of deception, I thought that it was just greedy people, politicians. It was just about business, and it was very unfair, but I didn't realize the scale of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a very strange like vision or encounter. I don't know what you call it. And most people would say it's a hallucination. It didn't happen. And it's like, okay. And that's fair, I guess, by definition, but it was real enough to me that it definitely imparted in me like a sense of, oh, okay, there's actually real evil out there that wants to just destroy man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I kind of sat up and realized, okay, there's more going on here.
Yeah.
Then it's not just.
They keep us. So here's how my take on that. They keep us in a state of moral relativism, so we don't choose to oppose this evil. That's how
Totally.
I see it.
And then when we do, it's like we blame the wrong people.
Yes, that's true. Then they have these other avenues to throw us off track again. Right.
Right.
Sure.
It's like all the celebrities doing this little, that star eye or whatever it is, all these little Illuminati It's like they're doing it. I don't know what they think. They think they're being clever, or they're told to do it. But I think it's just they're patsy. That's just so we blame them, and if we come with pitchforks, we tear them apart. But it's still out there.
I'd imagine anyone we know about is probably in that boat. Any name that we could come up with, even right down to the hardcore robber baron names, they're all just put out front, right? It has to.
Yeah, they're all being played. I mean, they're all being played.
Yeah, but this deep down, it's a consciousness or a lack of consciousness. I think it's a void. It's an emptiness.
Totally.
Yeah. So
and I feel like that's what they set these things up for. These Hollywood type, it's a honeypot. They want a particular type of person for whatever reason that's more likely to, be useful to them.
Well, they want someone who's willing to trade any sort of soul or for material gain, right?
Yeah.
For fame and riches in this life. It's the classic story.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
That building always makes me laugh. Like, what is that?
Yeah, right. The Stratford Hotel in the Bellevue Stratford in Philadelphia, right? Philadelphia is ridiculous.
Just keep building higher and higher and higher and higher. And it's like, all right, now we'll put the top on it. It's just like,
yeah. Wait. We need 2 more floors. Let's go with a mansard roof. Let's put a few more.
Just crazy.
Yeah.
That is a gorgeous building.
Yeah. I look at these from a perspective of a Finnish carpenter. And it's just like, it blows my mind. And if it blows my mind, it should blow people's mind that don't do this work, but maybe it doesn't hit them in the same way.
Yeah, that's my favorite, is when I've feedback or I hear from actual builders or actual construction workers, because often they confirm suspicions that I have, because I have not worked in those fields. You know, I could read up on it, but it's not the same thing as having the tools in your hands and realizing the enormity of the task.
Mm-hmm.
And that just seems like such an insane undertaking and so unnecessary.
I can't imagine them attempting to build this in the way it's built with the materials that it's built with in the modern day. I can't even imagine it, you know? And
No.
again, you have that lower level, just like we were seeing, and the grates or the vents on the streets to cover up what's there.
It's just bizarre.
And this frail little cart here and the single horse.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
It's a skinny horse.
Is that like that's like the first Waymo? Like.
Oh man, yeah. Top hats going to work.
It's so stupid.
It is, yeah. It's a ridiculous building. Absolutely.
And that can't still be there. I mean, I
think it is. I think it is. I actually think.
Oh,
it is.
You know what? I think it is still there.
Yeah. The Bellevue's, I'm pretty sure. Otherwise, I would have thrown it in my book of old world demolished buildings. Let's look.
I think it was empty for a while. I went through an owner or two.
Yeah.
But I think I remember something about them refurbishing it a little bit.
Turned it into like low income condos. Who knows? Yeah, because it's still there.
It's still there. Yeah. The guy that ran it or owned it also ran another hotel that was equally as ridiculous. God, look at that.
Just take a quick look at the inside.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that probably only took about 20 minutes. This coffered area here.
And why would we stop making stuff like that?
Because exactly, right? Is it ugly?
Yeah,
actually,
I read these stories about where they remove those ceilings and they put in these they drop in acoustic panels and fluorescent lights, and you're like, ugh. Why are you downgrading?
Because architecture likes clean, plain lines. This is considered gaudy and ugly to them, to be honest.
That's ridiculous. I mean, I could see it being a little over the top, but
yeah,
the shapes and just those kind of buildings are just stimulating just to be inside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd love to go check some out. I'm tucked away up in northwestern British Columbia, so there isn't much of that up here. I wish I had more access. It is an amazing structure for sure. I'll jump over to some of my favorites. Some of my favorites file here.
That tower just looks obscene.
Toronto, that's Canadian. That's us Canadian boys do that one there.
Wow. And they built that tower for the purpose of having that hollow, right? There's nothing ever supposed to be in there. I mean,
apparently, but gargoyles coming off the corners.
How do they explain that?
Yeah.
Oh, and that's City Hall, or
it is. Yeah, it's their City Hall. Yeah, they don't really need to. It's Richardsonian Romanesque. The really fat architect guy,
right?
Came up with these ideas.
The guy that was everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and had trouble passing his schooling, but he was just a genius when it came to designing. I gotta throw this comment.
It's impossible.
It is. It really is. Yeah, it doesn't add up. There's one thing I noticed in one of your videos. You mentioned the four corners and then the peak in the middle. Ever since I watched that one of yours, I'm seeing it everywhere. You know.
Yeah, and you can kind of see all around every nation that there's just all of them are just modifications of the same type of tower. Sometimes there's a steeple, sometimes it's removed. Sometimes it's got a little bit of a dome.
So there's a unified architecture. We know that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, which to me implies it used to do something else. It has some function.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For sure. Not just form. Yeah.
Yeah, that looks something that that looks totally American.
Well, unfortunately, it wasn't built.
Or whatever.
It wasn't built well, so they had to tear it down because I guess they're pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it was compromised. They say it just wasn't built that well, so they had to tear it down. The old Cotton Exchange in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, right?
The old Cotton Exchange. Oh yes.
Yeah, that's where you go exchange cotton.
Give me a break, dude. Why the need for the gods or whatever is going on.
Those are the cotton gods, Jack.
Oh yes.
You're not familiar with the cotton
No,
gods?
yeah, I had forgotten.
Oh man. I'm just checking the chat here. Chat looks pretty
That
lively.
is-
Cool.
I
We got
can't-
150 people
Oh,
watching
where do you
us.
even see it at? I don't-
Where? The chat?
Yeah.
Oh, comments. You have a comment section on the side there? Click on that.
Mm.
See all these lovely people watching Jack and I bullshit about old world stuff. So
Oh, I
appreciate you
keep
guys
even,
being here.
Okay. Oh, there it is, man. It was blank the whole time for me.
Okay. Can
Oh,
you
I didn't
see
mean to
their
ignore
comments now?
everybody. Yeah, now I see him. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ignore everybody.
I don't think we have a sensitive bunch in the chat here, so probably good. Thanks,
Yeah,
guys.
hopefully not. I gotta be.
If you're sensitive, you're not into the old world, as far as I'm concerned. You gotta have pretty thick skin to. You gotta be fairly like brave, I think, to to dive into some of these waters.
Yeah, and that's something I don't understand. When people just can't be wrong, and they'd rather be wrong, or they'd rather be right than anything really. I don't understand that.
Yeah, risking being wrong can be tough for the ego, I suppose. Yeah.
I mean, I wish that I were wrong on most things.
So do I. I wish I was wrong about a lot of things, especially recently.
Yeah, it would be a lot more comforting to know there wasn't something actively trying to work against us every second of reality. that would be more
to be so
comforting to me.
naive. Yeah, I wish I was that naive. In sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I wish that were true. It'd be get a little more sleep.
Yeah. But I think we are in a time where the scales are tipping. I think that's part of what we're doing. I hope, anyway. I hope.
Seems like, yeah. Seems like some sort of spell might be wearing off, or just people are just gradually the word's getting out there.
There's got to be a tipping point coming, like 100 monkeys or something. I'm hoping, Wishful, maybe. Maybe it's all just wishful thinking.
I don't know. It seems like something in the past 5 or 6 years kind of jolted the system so that they had to kind of accelerate things a little bit, so it became obvious. Because I think it was a very slow crawl, and then maybe it just happened, or maybe I don't know. But it seemed like something changed where they became more obvious, almost as if they're pressed for time. It's almost like when your mom's coming home and you're having a party with your friends, and you're like, oh God.
You gotta get out and clean up.
Drink all the beer right now.
Yeah.
We gotta pound all the beer. We gotta shred all the documents.
Yeah. Check all the side rooms for people making out. Get them out of there.
Yeah. There just seems to be like a real effort to just get it all in while you can, steal all the money.
Totally. Yeah, no, it's desperate. I feel like we're desperate. But when things are desperate, things can get a little bit rocky for sure. So it's a little scary in that way too, not knowing, what's next. But I think the tipping point will come, and I think hopefully enough of us will be conscious enough to deal with this situation.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, oh, you're right. When Prince died, yeah, it hasn't been the same.
Where is it? Here?
Prince.
Was that 2016?
What a guy.
That was
April 16th, or April. Someone said in the chat that April 16th, maybe 2016, or was it?
Yeah, probably. I think 2016. A whole bunch exited.
And Prince was another one that he kind of came around at the end.
Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah, I mean, eventually you gotta think about what happens after you leave this place. If you put all your eggs in the basket of being here, you want to live forever, I guess. Otherwise,
yeah. And he straight up said when he got that award, one of those shows, where he's like, "There's a battle going on for your soul,
yeah,
or for your mind," and he says, "Your soul's the prize," and it's just like, wow,
totally, yeah. And then the way they trick us is to thinking that there's no such thing as a soul.
Right.
So you're easily willing to give up something you don't believe exists.
Right. It can all be explained away.
Yeah, it's science. Science tells us that this is just that, and this is just that, and we are in the age of scientism. The the death knells of scientism, I think. But
Totally.
mhm.
I mean, I don't even know what the word science means anymore.
I know, right? It does remind me of was it Albert Pike? His 3 letters, and he talks about the last one will create a new worldwide religion, blah blah blah, before
Oh
the
yeah.
Antichrist comes. And I mean, that's got to be scientism. There's got to be. You see how many people were masked up over the last however many years.
Yeah. Every now and then I still see somebody wearing one. I'm like, dude.
I saw one today. I want to mask shame, but I don't.
And then I also kind of feel like, the end one of the agendas behind that whole thing is to divide people. So it's almost like I feel like I'm falling into a trap when I look at someone say wearing a mask and I immediately form thoughts about them. I feel like I'm not doing that right either.
I hear you. I hear you exactly, and that's a tough one. I battle with that too, because
It's almost like I should just pretend like I don't care if anyone wears any mask. Wear one of those fake Richard Nixon masks if you want.
do what you want to do. It's like I
Yeah.
still love you. I still love you.
So I try to
You're an
override
idiot.
that, that response that I.
Yeah, it takes a lot of self-reflection, and it's not easy to maintain that because
No,
I battle with that
It's
too.
yeah, it's not very successful, but I feel like I should be more neutral.
The way I see it though, like it's just like, man, it was so easy to see. For me, it was so easy to see. How come it wasn't so easy
Right.
to see for all you other people, or the majority, I guess, is what they'll tell us. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. And some people, I guess, the truth isn't for everybody. At the end of the day,
Yeah, yeah. It's not so important. It's not so high up on people's priority lists. Just to seek the truth. Baton Rouge.
What is going on there?
I think maybe old state capital. Back when they built castles.
That's ridiculous.
Louisiana.
Like you just have to have those other castles on the little towers on top.
Well, those are completely structural. You have to have this on the corner, otherwise these walls will just buckle.
Right. Yeah. How do you explain that to the taxpayers or whoever's funding that building? Like how you need those?
No, sometimes they say these are privately funded. A group of investors or a wealthy person put their trust toward the building of this building. Like that's often part of the narrative.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That does turn up. Or it's always it's often, I should say. There's a single female who inherits it. Doesn't have children. Is kind of a hermit or recluse, and she eventually hands it off to a university or the historical society or just the government. And it's like, I don't know anybody who has donated anything to the government upon their death. Like, what was the deal with that back then?
Yeah, just placeholders. I think there's, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a deal, part of the deal. Like, yeah, you get to use it, but you got to give it back when you move on.
Yeah, you definitely see that story. How I've seen this a lot too, where these people put all their money into it, and made this building, made this trust, whatever it was, and then had 3 kids, but all kids died young, and there's no descendants. It's like,
right.
It's like, well, we're starting to dig up their stories. It's not just the pictures we're digging up, but the stories.
Yeah, the stories. There's a lot of strange, recurring things in these stories, but it's definitely dry material. I mean,
it's just poorly woven together. If you have a bit of a discerning eye.
Yeah, and very boring for the most part. It's just such and such was born here. He went there. He's an immigrant. And then, yeah,
I would suggest by design, the boring part anyway. He's like, oh, again, it's like telling us but a million miles away, right? It just Boris said, okay, I believe you. Don't tell me anymore.
You can't fathom it. Don't worry. Trust us. Like,
yeah.
Only we have a yardstick that long. It's but there's an element of it too that I just can't get rid of the nagging feeling that there's something about it that is, it's inhuman in that. Okay, you got this airtight story about this immigrant who came here and built this, and the 99% of it holds water, and then there would be one thing that's just so outlandish where it's like, yeah, and he graduated from Yale at age 16, and you're like, wait, what? Like,
that's super genius.
Yeah, and it's like a mistake that a human wouldn't make because it's because we feel time. It's like, yeah, I don't know, it just gives it this element of something going on here that's it's not right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it's an artificial intelligence. Well,
Something like
ultimately,
that.
ultimately, that's probably what we're up against is some sort of artificial intelligence. Like, if it's void of any sort of soul or consciousness, then it must be artificial at some level.
Right.
So maybe it's just an extension of that. You know.
Yeah, it's got to be, or at least something that's coming at it from not a human perspective, where they don't
Yeah.
understand that it takes time. You can't go to Europe and come back and get married and start a foundation the same year in the 1800s. I mean,
They were superhuman back then.
yeah, the slow boat, the slow boat to Europe.
Well, sometimes I even think um, that we're dealing with like multiple layering of timelines as we look back on some of this stuff. It just gets very confusing.
Totally.
Yeah. So somebody in the chat told me to check this one out, the old Wayne County building in Detroit, Michigan.
What?
Still stands, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
And what do they? How do they explain the statues? Like, what's the story behind that?
So this Henry Ford on the left, and this is no, this is the early Model T.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I think you did a video. I haven't seen it yet on horses and statues. What's your take on that?
Man, I don't know. Look, most of the time I just have half-baked ideas, honestly. I don't know.
It's all they all are anyway. Don't worry about it.
It's to me, it's just there's something fishy about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like a calling card where it's, to me, it seems almost like a trophy, trophies, which actually kind of look like that when you use little trophies. Yeah. It's almost like, well, when I roll into this town, if I see a horse statue in the courtyard, I know that like we're in control. Somehow we've got the reins of government enough to get the public to vote on this, or however you install this statue in the middle of town. That's the best I can come up with because I don't.
I like that.
And even that's probably not accurate, but it's almost a mockery.
Yeah, I like when you riff like that because you're pulling ideas out of.
And some of the people they choose to be in.
You still there? Don't tell me we lost Jack. Can you guys still hear me? Hey, is that you, Jack?
I'm still here.
All right. I lost you for a second, I think.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, am I alone?
Whew. I was enjoying this. I didn't want it to end. I don't know what you have for time tonight, but you want to keep going?
I got all the time.
Okay. I'd love to keep going because I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, as long as you want.
Yeah. Oh, does it almost look like this horse is following some sort of train track? Not quite, though. Not quite.
It's like a horse-drawn trolley, or?
Well, I don't think it is, but
dumb.
That's one of my favorite parts of the narrative is the horse-drawn trolley cars that comes
like
up.
Why? Why put a horse? Why put it on a track?
Again, infrastructure is getting me here. Like, look at these like manholes. Like, this is old. Well, I guess we have automobiles, so maybe we're in the 20s, 30s here, maybe 20s.
I mean, the brick alone, it looks like brick. Kind of, if you look at the bottom right-hand corner, like the whole street is.
Oh, it is, yeah. You can even see here, looking really closely. Kind of hard to tell, maybe on a smaller screen, but it is all brick.
Who's making all these bricks?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like that everywhere. Brick cities under the asphalt.
Yes, it's always interesting to see that layer peeling away in some places, right? The asphalt layer, and you have the brick. Like, I think I saw that in I think it's Deadwood, North Dakota, maybe South Dakota. Sorry if I get that wrong. Because I remember watching like 20 years ago. What is it? Deadwood, the series, TV series, and it was It was all like wood, rough wood buildings, and then I looked up Deadwood, and it's like brick streets. It's like nothing close to what they were depicting in the TV show, So
yeah, it's very much like that. I mean, even places like you hear about Tucson, Arizona, or these whatever it is. You go there, and it's not like a Western town at all.
It's not supposed to be that way, right? And, Pretty funny. One of my favorites. This one. This is in Belgium, right? I'm sure you're familiar with it. It's,
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. That
yeah.
looks
Leuven,
insane.
Leuven, Belgium. Probably not the best photo of it, but
So cool.
1, 2, 4 layers of dormers on the roof. It's amazing.
I mean, just the whoever built it, they had nothing but time
I know, and skill.
and just took great joy in creating that. I mean, how else do you explain it?
Yeah, it's beyond our comprehension, really. A lot of that.
Yeah, it's a different world entirely.
Yeah.
Different mindset, anyway.
Different mindset. Yeah, not a divisive, not a hateful mindset, not a hoarding mindset. It's
And how's it explained? You see the bottom layer where it's
Mhm.
different coloration. You see that all the time, and I know how we would kind of explain that. But what's the official narrative on why they would do that?
this
Like,
part
why
here,
would they paint it white? Yeah.
and then there's one here too. This tower part here. Let's look it up. Why not? Why not?
I
We
see that
have-
often in buildings. It's like, well, why'd you make the bottom part like that?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't you mind your own business.
Isn't it beautiful?
Go play your video games.
That's right. We'll put a couple in the background of the video game just to keep you confused. Right. Old world buildings are in everything. Movies, video games, right? It's in everything.
Yeah, and now they build these little like imitation ones, sort of,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
with a little useless little dome on the top, and
Yeah.
it's like, I get it.
We're trying to look like the old world. We're trying to make it look like it's all the same world. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
So
it's
this
just
is-
how we build. There's no reason.
Yeah. Look away. Look away. Here we go. So 1400s, they say this thing was originally built. Exterior masonry and roof were finished 1460, and in 1469 the building was complete. Started in what? 1439? Okay.
Yeah, Europe does that where they say sometimes it took 100 years to build, and then here in America, there's like, oh, it took 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Here we go.
'Cause
In
they've
the
got, their history is insane over there. I can't make sense of it at all.
Yeah, it's quite different for sure. In the 19th century, it underwent renovations, and then it remained standing after the devastation of World War One, escaping with only minor damage. World War II, a bomb struck the front of the building, causing yet more damage, and it took until 1983 before repairs. That's probably. Oh, here's a color picture. Let's get.
God,
It's a banger, right? This one.
it's so insane.
1400s. This was all done, folks, in the 1400s in Belgium. How do we ever believe this crap?
I don't know. It just looks like tech to me. It looks like
Totally. Oh, it is. You can see all these for the glory of the city hall, because it's not a church. I was going to say God, but it's the city hall. So
we're just gonna put little statues on every column, and I mean,
each statue is going to have a cone with all these little nipples all around
yeah, it's
it.
the opposite of corner cutting. It's like spend the maximum amount of time and material possible.
I don't even understand how you envision a building like this.
No,
Like how you just like.
how do
keep
you know when
drawing
it's
things.
done? It's just
That's right.
never done. Just keep adding on
Totally. Yeah,
more
exactly.
statues.
Let's see what other crap they have in here. They're going to say, okay, Corbeau's sporting statues carved with biblical scenes, of course. 236 statues are relatively recent. Oh, hold on. 236 statues coming from 1850,
Oh, really?
apparently.
What biblical scenes are they? I mean, it's just a bunch of dudes.
The 3 wise men.
Yeah, just repeated.
Yeah, just over more than 3 wise men. Here we go. Yeah, so anyway, my guess is they're probably calling that a repair from a bombing. That's a guess, though. There you got some scaffold in the back there, right? Beautiful building.
It's insane. And just all these kids just in the way.
Yeah, and these world wars were memory wipes, as far as I'm concerned. They're trauma-based memory wipes, I think.
And you find these funniest little stories where you're just looking at a little village in France, and they'll be like, "Yeah, the Allies accidentally came here to bomb one bridge, and they missed and hit the cathedral." And you're just like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I heard stories of people whose grandpas fought in the war, and it was their missions to destroy towns, not to
Yeah.
defeat an area. It's to destroy the actual infrastructure.
Yeah, my grandfather did that same thing. I mean, not by blood, but he's like a step grandfather, I guess. He did the same thing. He was a flew always by. It wasn't until years later I realized, like, man, you're kind of a bad dude.
Well, at the time, I don't think it questioned much. I think that it was thicker. This thought form, this mind control, or I don't want to use the word mind control because it makes you think of CIA, but this thought form was much thicker and shrouded in ritual. That's where you get the church and royalty and all that stuff.
Yeah, and they knew much less. I mean, it was definitely a more innocent time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And they had a real false idea of their surroundings. I think I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, even this country, even through the 2000s, really. I mean, we've a lot of people, myself included, even though I was on the fence about a lot of it, it still seemed like we enabled these world wars and these Afghanistan type situations where we still kind of wanted to believe that there was some good. Somebody over there is benefiting from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't the people that we thought.
Yeah, there's a naive aspect of it. Like, again, you're hoping that there's no evil, or evil is not as evil as that. Maybe.
Right. Oh, yeah, exactly.
But then the last couple of years happened, and you're like, oh no, full on evil.
Yeah, and then you just saw all the pieces line up, and it's just like, you too? And you too? And then the church billboards are saying things and promoting ideas. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Thanks for making it obvious. I appreciate that. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
It's like, now I know exactly where the line is.
But in a way, it kind of brought a lot of people together that wouldn't have normally found themselves agreeing at all.
Yeah, equal and opposite reactions. So there's always going to be a backlash when you push too hard in one direction. I think the pendulum swings, so.
Totally. And eventually, I mean, like, I've rambled about this before, but eventually there's no room in the worldview that they have for us. There's no room for anyone. So eventually they will all be on our side, because I mean, I use the word side, loosely, but it's just
humanity.
Right. Humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. The side of a soul. That's the side.
Yeah, that's it. That's really it. Just humanity, just to continue and and be better.
Yeah. Yeah. Just choose good over evil. It's easy. It's not hard. It really isn't hard. Yeah.
It shouldn't be hard. Yeah.
This is a beautiful one too. So the Palace of Justice.
Ridiculous.
Let me look this one up.
And it's in Brussels, man.
Yeah.
So much jammed in Belgium. It's unbelievable.
Isn't like a hub for like the global seat of power too? Something.
I think it's where the EU is centrally.
Yeah.
Those people.
Yeah. One of their seats of power, like Geneva is another one, right? And Geneva, Switzerland. They have a couple of those, a couple of those places. 1866 to 1883.
Just messed around and built that, huh?
Let's see.
All those the massive population that Belgium has.
Yeah, it looks so old. And look, it's all scaffolded up too, right?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think this is a vast building too. It's a massive, massive structure.
And this is the place that had a king even as late as the 1940s.
Yeah, Brussels. Yeah. Yeah. Some of the interior shots. Let's take a look. That sometimes the interiors are much better. Take a look at that. See if I can get bigger on that.
Dang.
Right.
What's going on there?
That's some intricate work for 1800s Brussels. I'll tell you.
That is insane.
Oh, there's Dana. Yeah, Belgium is the headquarters of the EU. So you were right.
That is insane.
It is, isn't it? It's mind blowing.
I don't even know what to think.
Let's get a couple more.
It's like, oh, your office is right up ahead. Who is worthy of that?
And you'll be like, I'm a part of the EU now. I have joined the EU.
I just hear like heels clicking down those halls. It
Yes.
just makes me feel strange.
Look at the small the desks are. Look at the desks.
It's
Oh,
ridiculous.
here's the other floor, and this column's above my head. I hope that column doesn't fall down and crush us. Yeah.
It's just so unnecessary for what they're using it for.
Totally. Yeah. Do you have a take on the whole Giants thing? The Giants theory? What do you
They at some point they had to be here. I mean,
had to?
I don't know when, but at some point
Yeah.
they had to be here.
Here, was it us? Were we that big? And then were there different
I don't
versions
know.
of us?
I mean,
right.
it's hard to say. It feels like there's been a few different times where whatever was here kind of got wiped out. And it feels like even mainstream science will tell you some story about the ozone collapsing and, organisms being smaller after that. And it's like, well, maybe there's some truth to that. Maybe we are one of those organisms. I don't know. I really don't know. But there's got to be some truth to it. I mean, there's way too many skeletons dug up and way too many legends from every corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And staircases and doors and
the doors with the knockers like 12 feet high, and like the ones that we just saw in Belgium. Like those are pretty big, I think. Oh, gone.
Yeah, there's a place in Nashville called the Parthenon. Looks just like it sounds, and the door. I had the chance to visit it, and the door. I'm just standing there in front of this big, I don't know, it looked like bronze door. It's got these sort of ram heads on it, and it was just the strangest feeling. Like, yeah, this was not built by men, and it was very eerie.
Yeah, you had that there. Is that the door?
Yeah, and actually up close, it wasn't illuminated like that. It was kind of like closed off, but I think those are like lion or ram's heads.
Yeah,
in the panels. It felt weird.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah. Well,
I guess this was on the site of a world exposition they had here, and this is one of the remnants.
It's made of cake frosting, isn't it?
Yeah. They just left it there. It's one of the few that left. They're like, I guess we'll build one for real. The rest of them can just be made out of grass and plaster.
Yeah, right. I like the griffins on the sides there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's insane. Like, why is it in Nashville? It's like some guy just built it.
Yeah, they had a pyramid too, didn't they? The Nashville
that park is strange. There's a bunch of strange things scattered around there from the exposition left over, and then there's like some tacky ones that look like they're made out of plaster of Paris. Like, see, they're not all permanent.
You're like diversions, yeah.
Is that inside of it?
Yeah. Did you go in there?
No, it was closed up for some reason. They weren't allowing anyone in there.
I've heard this is kind of like
what? That's inside of that?
Yeah.
Good
apparently.
God.
Strange.
Okay.
But actually, this is exactly what I would have expected in Nashville.
I mean, that's basically the giant question.
I think 1898, they say that this whole fair happened, if I recall. I'm going by memory here, but...
And what's the point of that in this Christian nation? We're going to have this thing.
It reminds me of the statue in the Chicago World's Fair as well, the whole Columba statue, or whatever. In some ways, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so many of these. And what is the point of that? I mean, that thing's kind of ugly compared to the rest of the building. So it does look like it came later, but I just don't. Yeah. I don't know what we're doing there.
Yeah, I have heard that it's made of inferior materials or part of it or something. I don't know. I didn't go too deep into that one, but I remember researching this a while back.
She's wearing like platform shoes.
Those are fluvogs.
I need to be taller.
Yeah, she's not tall enough. She's not tall enough. You gotta have those shoes. And the snake here.
Susan, I see. You should go. You should go check it out. It is insane. The park's very nice, but that thing is bizarre.
Heidi's asking, in the Bible Belt? I don't know. Is it in the Bible Belt? I don't think so.
In the Bible? No, I don't. I think the Bible Belt is more. It's more middle of the country.
Yeah.
I believe it's considered more like Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. That I could be wrong on that.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay.
And under that Parthenon, there's an entrance that descends, and there's something going on down there where they do concerts and things like that.
Let's see if I can find it. There?
Yes, yeah, inside there. Apparently, you can go down, and there's some stupid history about it that makes no sense.
Hmm. Nashville was a cool city to do. It had a lot of good stuff.
Very cool. It's
Yeah.
actually it's a shame what's been happening to it. I think it's not the same.
Wow.
In the
It's a
past 10
shame.
years, it has changed so much.
Yeah. It's
I
a
mean,
shame.
just skyscrapers and high rises, and it's unrecognizable to me.
Oh, I see. I thought you were getting at the sort of the societal degradation that's going on in so many cities
A
too.
little bit, but it's more just like industry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good to know. That's interesting. Yeah. I always wonder. I look at these old world pictures of these cities. I'm like, man, Cleveland looks really cool. I'd love to go there. And then people are like,
Okay,
no.
I'm wrong. I guess I'm wrong. The Bible Belt is considered to be more southern.
Oh, somebody in the chat set you
Yeah,
straight.
yeah. Set me straight. Yeah.
Thanks, Roderick. I'm just deferring to everything American to you. That's all. I don't know.
Oh, don't do that. I'm not an expert on anything.
No, you're the white coat for American history for me. You're the white coat.
I mean,
Whatever you say, I'll believe.
Eventually, oh yeah, trust me.
Yeah.
I've done the surveys. Trust me, I know exactly what's going on here.
Yeah.
I mean, I get more confused by the day. Everything I think I know,
For sure.
it changes just weekly.
For sure. It's you got to stay fluid, right? You got to stay flexible. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. It's just so much. So cool. The old insurance.
Yeah, I'm totally comfortable with the idea that I'll never know the truth, all of it, and I'm all right with that.
Well, that's kind of a detractor for a lot of people, isn't it? It's like, I'll never know for sure, so I'm just going to believe what I'm told.
Yeah, it seems like I don't understand that. I mean, I guess everyone's wired different, but I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And even when you're wrong, sometimes you trigger an idea in someone else that lets them find the answer. So I throw it all out there. And
exactly, that's what I'm saying. Just go, and then people will pull different aspects of it, and we get closer, right? When we sort of we share, we can't be afraid to share. They want us to be afraid to share our thoughts and ideas. That's part of their game, their plan.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. This is a joke, this one too. This is in Banff up here in Canada. The Banff Springs Hotel, and the timeline for the build is absolutely ridiculous. It's in the 20s. It burns down, and it take like 2 years to rebuild this thing. It's in the middle of the mountains, in the Rocky Mountains.
It's insane.
It's so stupid.
And so what's the timeline on the picture? Like the trees, there couldn't have been that many trees around it when they constructed it, right?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's the thing, right? This looks like an old photo. This could be from the 30s or 40s. This photo, I don't have a date on it, but let's take a look at the Banff Springs Hotel. This one's like notorious for ghost stories, like they all are, all the old ones, right?
I've seen, every time you say Banff, I keep thinking of Nightcrawler, the the comic character when he would teleport. That's what they would write.
But that's the word that they would.
They would say Banff. Yeah,
Banff.
It's an incredibly nerdy
Banff.
reference.
You're in Banff. Now you're in Banff. Banff. So you can see, like, it's a beast.
Whoa!
They've had G20 summits here and stuff. It's
How do you justify that?
Well, it was a railway hotel. Like Canada's, we've got ridiculous railway hotels, and the stories behind them are so stupid.
Yeah, Canada has got so much of that.
Yeah, we don't even have the backstory you guys do in most cases. So it's just like they just sloppily threw a lot of this together.
They just kind of say like the railroads built it, right? Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Canada Pacific Railroad, Chateau-esque style. I'm trying to get a timeline on the rebuild on this. I don't think it's very long. Of course, they chop up these timelines too, right? 1886, and then they did another one. And then this is one building. This wasn't like we did this, 30 years went by and we added on to this, but made it look exactly like this. It doesn't make sense.
And that's half of the thing with the fires. It's It doesn't matter if the fire actually happened or not. Either way, it serves a purpose. It's either we destroyed it because we need to destroy it, or we destroyed it and then quickly rebuilt it so that we can then claim that we built it. Because like, well, of course we built it because you remember it all burned down, so it had to have been us. It's like
Yeah,
either way it works.
yeah, it's a reset narrative, right? Are you familiar with the Chateau Frontenac in Quebec?
Yes, that's
Okay.
That's kind of that iconic. That's the one the railroad bill, right?
It's
claim.
well, that's what I'm saying. They have
one
these
of
like,
them?
yeah, no, they have like 15 of these in Canada.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah, that one's ridiculous.
Well, yeah. What's ridiculous is they say that this thing was built in 18 months in Quebec.
Okay. And
Quebec.
they expect, that's what I mean. They expect people to buy that?
It's like that had to be like one of the good guys penciling it in there. Someone was in touch with their humanity and decided, I'm going to pencil this history in here, and one day someone's going to see it and say, there's no way that's possible, and I will have done something to awaken humanity to this great lie. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, how can
It
anyone
has to
buy
be.
that? They've been digging a hole out here in the road with all these backhoes and things for like a year, and I still don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, unless you have like 1 million workers.
Well, even then, right? Like they'll be on top of
Even
each other.
then, yeah, that's
Here,
what I'm talking about. That story's not even believable.
here's
It's like
some
they're
of the
barely
interior.
trying.
Well, that's just it. It's lazy, right? Some of the interior here. Yeah. So it's not.
My God.
It's nice, right? It's nice. Like it's. Let's
Just
see.
one of those chandeliers is.
Yeah. It's got some crazy, like, it's all like coffered ceiling. I've done this, but I've done it in like
Jeez.
not hardwood because nobody can pay for that anymore. The coffered ceilings,
Right.
even doing that in like ticky tacky MDF, whatever, is just it's a ridiculously outrageous cost to the client.
Even
To
if it
do
was just like paneling or like a.
Totally. Even if you're just going to spray paint it all, it's just a lot of work. That's why we just put flat surfaces everywhere now, right? Nobody does it, right?
And back then, there were no people trying to exploit others and get rich. Everyone was just trying to make nice things.
Lovey, right? Lovey doveys. Yeah, 1890. I think 18. Let me just double check.
Yeah, the era that we were okay with basically enslaving each other, allegedly. That's when we're gonna spare no expense.
Yeah, here we go. Just so you guys can all see this, groundbreaking, 1892 of May, opened December 18th, 1893. So
What
that's
do
their
you do with
story.
that?
Yeah, so I consider this one a major narrative buster.
Totally. I mean, there's got to be people that give tour guides there that just, what are they doing? Are they just regurgitating information and not even thinking about what they're saying?
They're keeping their jobs. That's what they're doing.
Even that little portion right there is amazing.
And then the retaining wall in the foreground here. This is like the street up here, and then this down below.
How do they explain that?
I think they got something like there was something, a fort before there or something. I don't know. They got the obelisk here because you have to put an obelisk.
Oh yeah,
so
it almost looks tiny.
It does. It looks a bit limp too.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, the Chateau Frontenac, narrative buster for sure. I'm sort of ignoring the chat here. I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on it at all, but it's cool. We got almost 200 people in this chat, so thanks for being here, guys. Jack and I are just bullshitting.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's cool.
That is one thing I'm surprised by. I hesitated when I was gonna put out like a Civil War thing. I was like, man, this is gonna get me just tore up. But surprisingly, there's been so little of that negative feedback that I'm genuinely surprised.
Yeah. Well, there isn't. Yeah, me too. Like, it's got to be a 98% positive feedback on what I do, and
I would expect someone to be like, "You're an idiot."
Yeah,
there's been a little bit of it, but not much. I mean,
yeah. Well, those Civil War ones, again, narrative buster. Like, I haven't had anything blow me away quite like that, though, because you did the work and made your own photos. And then you.
Oh yeah, all those AI ones.
Yeah, and then you compared them like that. That's part 4, I think that is. If anyone's wondering, WhisperJack's part 4.
Yeah, that was scary even to me because I was like, "Oh, dude,
I feel
what
like
is going on here?"
You uncovered something there for sure. I think that's just like this is way too obvious. At this
And the
point.
story about how they found those pictures is
Tell me
it's
about.
just like
Can,
it's like two high school guys in the year 2000 just found a picture of a relative or something, and that was in the Civil War, and they suddenly were inspired, and they went around door to door and gathered up all these pictures that apparently people had just been hanging on to for 200 years. And
what?
waiting for someone to knock on the door and be like, "Oh yeah, I guess I'll give it to you." And so they claim that that's like 5% of the collection that they gathered. These two boys, and they donated them to the Library of Congress. And it's like, okay, either this family is pulling a hoax and the government fell for it, or there's something else going on, because that's the dumbest story.
They're the ones that are framed, right? Like not the ones I'm
Yeah, they're
looking
all
at here.
framed as somehow like
These
rosy
ones here?
cheeks. Yeah, those ones. Yeah, like that right there. And the
Yeah.
poses are ridiculous.
He's
Where it's
already
like
got
a guy will just
unsheathed.
have a bugle and he's holding up to the side of his head.
Yeah, for anyone out there, you got to check that video out. It's absolutely ridiculous.
And so what was funny, well, to me, what kind of did, I randomly put in the AI generator like Civil War soldier, and it put it in a frame like that.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, out of all the scenes to choose, I mean, it just doesn't
Yeah.
make sense.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's like
Their clothes don't make sense. The way they're holding their swords. I mean, they have swords like that. I mean, everything about it is just
Yeah, the way their clothes fit. This doesn't make sense. The way this
the
guy's
different
clothes fit.
hats.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a fantastic video. Fantastic. It's just like, oh wow. I think you may have stumbled onto something there.
There's something weird with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like we talked about earlier on in this chat, like the Civil War is pivotal for the identity of the United States.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the proof of slavery. It's the proof of the South, the vilification of the South, and it's really the defining moment of American history, really, outside of, I mean, at least as far as what they teach in the schools.
Yeah, and if you go by the axiom that they like to invert everything, the way that we think of the Civil War, if you flip it all, then the Southern forces would have been working against the current powers that be, I suppose. And whether the Southern forces were just actually the old world, and what we're seeing with North and South is just packaged for us now. But what it is symbolizing the defeat of the old world, or the remnants of the old world. That could be possible.
Sure. And it just sows these seeds of hatred.
Exactly.
That carried on to the next generation, and then
dividing lines, right?
Right, and then this race will just oppress this race, and then sow the seeds of hatred, and then 200 years goes by, and you have a situation like you have in certain areas of the world, where it's just like these people are never going to get along unless they all just forgive each other.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like the Hatfield and McCoys. No one knows how the feud started, but by now we killed each other so many horrendous things that it'll never end.
Yeah. Don't even think about how it begun. Just continue it, carry it down through time. Yeah.
It almost makes me think that this realm it's sort of like they get it under control and they put it on a timer, like you would like your sprinkler system. It's sort of automated. It's like, all right, well, we'll check on them in a couple 100 years. And then that's why it's kind of glitchy.
Yeah.
Down. I get the feeling of that. I'm not saying that's what is happening, but I get the feeling of that, where it's just on autopilot right now.
Yeah, I think. Are you familiar with Mel Gibson's take on the timeline distortion? No. Michelle Gibson.
Oh, a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm familiar with her. She's great.
Yeah, she's a deep researcher for sure, right?
Yeah, she's great. She's really great.
But she says she has some theory, and I don't want to put words in her mouth. I'm just sort of roughly, a rough idea that the Philadelphia experiment during World War II, or what we call the Philadelphia experiment during World War II, created some sort of 500-year time schism going back to 1492. And they overlaid a new timeline over the old timeline. So maybe induced cataclysm and then overlaid a new timeline over the old world. I'm like, there's something.
Now that you mention that, it does sound familiar. I don't know much about that Philadelphia experiment, but I do recall hearing something about that. That's
I feel
plausible. I mean,
I think there's a timeline. There's something with the timeline. There's something with like our reality and layering that we don't understand. Of course, we don't understand. They're not going to teach us that
right.
this exists in that we can create our own reality. They don't really teach us that either.
And
You
it's
know?
the clock, the clock face. I can't get over it. The way they put it in every town square and they stick it on every tower. It's just something about it it never
Yeah,
fits. Like it's never quite. It looks sort of tacky compared to the rest of the building, and it's
yeah,
almost like nope. Whatever was there before. Now we got the time. Now we'll
yeah.
tell
Let
you
me
what time it is.
totally. I'll show you a couple of courthouses. So I got like all these are all courthouses by state, and the courthouses are ridiculous
Oh,
down
the
there.
courthouses are ridiculous.
They all have.
I mean, the tiniest town, tiniest little podunk town, and it has this insane courthouse.
And they all have that tower with the clock usually.
There's so
It's
many
like
courthouse fires. I think there's actually a book that I have a digital copy of, and it's called like Georgia Courthouse Fires. it's like how dozens and dozens of courthouses
3
in Georgia
volumes.
alone.
It's a 3-volume set.
I mean, it might as well be. I mean, the fact there's that many Georgia courthouses that have burned, it's like, okay, you guys got to come up with something new.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
I'll see if I can
Texas
find
is
some.
notorious for those courthouses in these small towns.
Okay, let me get Texas then. I got
They
Texas.
make no sense.
All almost 300 counties in Texas. Each with
Some of
own.
them just very sparsely populated.
Yeah, just a
It's
couple.
like, well, the town folk wanted something that would represent the area, and so we scraped together some money. And
Was it Palestine, Texas? Okay.
Yeah.
we wrote Dale Carnegie a letter, and he sent us some money for Christmas. And
We got a courthouse and a library.
So stupid.
Yeah, government building, right? This is like, if you take the dome off of there, how many buildings have you seen that look like this without a dome, with just a flat top? Too?
I mean, depending on where you are in the world, that's a mosque, or if you're in India, it's a tomb, a mausoleum. It's just it's the same crap. They had to just rewrap it and sell us something new.
Yeah, or a post office if you're in a small town, wherever.
Right. Like you could take these stories and remove the caption and just make up totally different things.
Yeah.
Like that's a hotel. That one's a hotel. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. School. Actually, it's a high school. A high school. Normal
could
school.
Could be high school, yes. Or this could be where the Sultan lives. That's where the Sultan lives.
That's where this is. That was perfect. This is Arkansas, maybe Arkansas. I'm not sure. I might have misspelled it. Yeah. All you Texans out there, you can tell me, can't you? I'm just gonna roll through because some of these are just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
So, what's the Texas narrative? All I think of with Texas is ranching and guns, and
I mean that's part of it. There's a lot of different areas in Texas. A lot of different.
It's big. It's a huge
so
state.
Big.
Isn't it have the GDP of like the 5th highest GDP in the world or something ridiculously? I don't know. I might be making that up.
It is massive.
Yeah. Where's the
dome? It's very different from San Antonio down to like Corpus Christi. It's very, very different.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
But there's plenty of small towns that have there's no excuse to have that as their courthouse.
And
how many people going to court around there?
Yeah, all for what? For the law? We got the law here now. We got to build a courthouse to represent that law. I don't know.
Yeah, to me it seems like it's just the way you need a town well for water, or you need a town, I guess, a power source. It seems like that's the only thing they could be. It's something to do with the infrastructure. So it's like we built the town around this thing, not because it's a courthouse, because it had some function. As to what that function is, I don't know. That's just the only thing that logically makes sense to me.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, it's the central location of a lot of these towns, right? The courthouse square.
Yeah. And look, and I get the same feeling as when you see. Okay, so one time, sometimes life is funny when you get these little inspirations from just little nothing moments. My mom had this puppy, and she was like, "Oh, let me go get this little hairbrush that it likes as a toy," And I just thought that's that right there, where it's just we're playing with all these things that we don't know what they do. We don't know what they are. We're camping out around these big buildings that had some other purpose, and we're just sort of clueless about it. That's just the feeling I get.
Yeah, no, we're just guessing. We don't know the function, right? And we're gonna make up a function. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we're the ants. We're in like the Bug's Life, where they're just living in all the trash, like making the juice cartons into houses and stuff. And
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I had somebody who was watching tell me to check out Waxahachie. I got to be close to it.
what is that?
This
That's a
is
courthouse, also.
Wood. This is all Texas courthouses. This is Wood County, 1896 built. There's a horse and buggy.
It's a good thing they put that top part on there, because otherwise it would not have been symmetrical. It wouldn't be a court of law.
Look at you got these. There's obviously one on the back too. So the four features. Those are columns, I think. Right? I mean, it gets grainy, but it's ridiculous.
It is insane. It's like, how do we get people to move here to justify it?
Yeah, right.
Basically, give the land away. I mean, that's what they had to do.
Yeah, give them land. That's it. Yeah.
Give them land.
Well, where's this? Waxahachie. I'm just going backwards here.
It's so insane.
Williamson County.
It's like those people just rolled into town and we're the first people here. Well, yeah, there's a courthouse. Yeah. Like, there's a hotel and a train station.
Oh, wait, there's a judge and a lawyer here. They're the first ones here. A judge and a lawyer.
Yeah. And just no telling of where they got even the material from.
Yeah. I'm just going backwards looking for Waxahachie. Oh, maybe I missed it. No, I have to search it. I'd like to accommodate one of the viewers here.
Yeah. No, I'm curious about it. This stuff is endlessly fascinating to me. I mean,
totally. Yeah.
Every time I think I've like burned out on it, I see some new building. I'm like, God damn.
Well, this must be the one we were just looking at. Did you tell me? Well, actually, we can do a comparison. Maybe not.
Good old Ellis County.
Oh man, there. Let me
had
go
to
back.
Put a cowboy on top of their obelisk to sell it to the native,
Yeah, right here.
To make it fit the area. Yeah.
Oh, and a star. Should have flipped it upside down.
Stick a cowboy on it, and then, yep.
Look at that impeccable work here.
So cool, though.
Richardsonian Romanesque.
Man.
Even that 1, 2, 3, 4.
I don't know how they make that like puffy brick. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. I've never noticed that about the clocks.
Yeah. Marshall.
But the 6 is the 6 is the VI, but the 4 is just the.
Yeah, the 6 is the VI, and because am I wrong? Like that's how I was taught Roman numerals in school. IV.
IV. Yeah.
Yeah. Because Lucy Aurelian and I have talked about that too.
Like, yeah, it's a cheesy clock.
Yeah, let's do a comparison. Let me go back to is that the one? I think it is.
Maybe.
Let me flash back and forth here.
Maybe from a different angle.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah. You know what's funny too? Like I've got all these courthouses. I've found almost identical buildings in different counties.
Totally.
It's weird.
And not just there either. It's, I mean, if you even look at that last picture, if you imagine the roof, those cone roofs being gone, it's a tower. It's a castle. Take off the shingled roofs. So it's almost like it's just all variations of the same basic structure.
It's almost, it's like they've modified things to look like different things, but
for the area, yeah.
And they were much more grand in many ways than what we're even seeing in a lot of cases, I think.
Oh, I'm sure the ornament like on the sides have been stripped, all the statues taken off, and
yeah. And I've caught a lot in a lot of my videos. I find a church with the steeple and the church with the steeple removed, and I mean it's a part of their narrative too. So many of them say, "Oh, the bell tower had to go because the storm of 1942." Right. It's par for the course for what they do, I think. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up. As much as I'd
Okay.
love to keep going, but I would like to do it again if you're
Yeah,
interested.
that man, I really enjoyed this. It's been
Yeah.
very cool. Sorry if my tech stuff. Still kind of learning this live stream stuff, so hopefully the sound was all right. And
Yeah, how's I think that I don't think anyone had trouble, and I think people enjoyed it. I hope they did anyway, and I certainly did
good.
as well. So it's
Yeah, I did
wonderful.
too. Let's do it again, and I'll put something together as well, and
Cool. Yeah,
we'll
we'll do your
compare
file
some
next
notes.
time.
And,
Sounds
all right.
good.
I really look forward to this, man, and it's been really nice chatting with you, and I thank you just for reaching out. It's great to connect with some like minds.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel a little isolated sometimes, outside of a few people that will allow you to talk to them about it.
Yeah, it's important, I think, and I'm happy to be acquainted for sure. It's important for me.
Likewise, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everything, for the shout out, and
You bet.
it's nice. It's comforting to know that people like you exist.
You too. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat. It's comforting to know you all exist too, guys, and I appreciate
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
guys joining us.
Without the people that throw random encouragement out there, it really does make it all worthwhile. It's really great. It's a blessing. So I'm thankful for all of you.
Yeah. Okay. Until next time. Take care, guys.
Until next time, man. See ya.
Yeah. See ya.